Yes, I did set up the meeting minutes late.
I didn't see him. It's like,
Yeah,
that's what
I think you're right. It was just after 5 that I sent them, so forgive me for that. Did you, you got a copy? Did you see them at all?
No,
I saw them.
they're not here.
Oh, you do?
No. Mm-mm.
You have the copy? Did you work yourself?
Well, she,
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay.
I make a motion to approve them
Well, I thought there was 2 errors, so,
with amendments.
well, yeah, no, Berger and,
Yeah.
another word, I went, there's no apostrophe there. When I was printing, I went, what's that? Yeah, something I could put an apostrophe out. Okay, so there's really no corrections, I'll just change the name. Second, by somebody?
I'll second the motion. All right. Say all in favor of approving?
Commissioner on the minutes.
Yes, we will, correct.
No, this is disappointing that everybody's not here to go over their things before next week.
So I was saying to Bill that I met with all the town department heads. Unfortunately, they didn't have a budget in front of them, so we just talked in theory. So the notes that I made from those meetings don't necessarily answer all these questions now that I have numbers in front of me.
Yeah,
So I'd like to go back to them and do a deeper dive to say, you know, how is this going up when you told me flat budget?
Right.
So I will do that and I'll reach out to Lori the next couple of days
Okay.
and make that happen ASAP.
To that end, I had a chance to speak with the library. And Lori should have sent you got it, excellent. Yeah, so we have their budget as it is. You know, look anything surprising there, just an increase in some software costs. Basically flat across the board, et cetera.
Phone bill is up.
Yeah,
yeah, they're kind of an island, you know, it's like, they're still with, where is the library?
Well, they have to maintain a fax line apparently, so that's.
Well, well, they have to have a proper line for the elevator too.
Yes.
yes,
Yeah, that's an, yeah. But also, they stay the Spalding Hill,
Yes.
but they also get, they were getting like benefits back occasionally with, computers. Because they're a nonprofit and Spalding Hill, you know, contributes to nonprofits. And where is their budget? I looked at their budget today. Oh, here's one of the things, yeah. Look at their budget.
What page?
It's 17. There's a lot of this throughout the
Oh, yeah.
budget.
I'm sure true. We're probably pulled on.
No, unless you want to get different one.
Yeah, there's a lot of missing. Mhm.
There's a lot of holes in this budget.
Parks and playground is a good example.
They don't have
Expect nothing
anything
for
for last
September.
year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was billed to the wrong
Yeah.
department. Anyway, let me go, print it.
thank you.
Anybody else need a copy? Yeah, everybody's got paper.
You have the same one, right?
It's the only one.
10/20, right?
When we're done with the library, there are two things that I want to go back to.
One of the general pet peeves that gives me pause is things that I see that are chained together that aren't acting like they're chained together. So when we see wages go up by a certain percentage, I expect to see the same percentage for Social Security and Medicare. And I pause when I see three different numbers for percentage increases. Because that makes me feel like we're not doing something based on a formula, but somebody is doing a calculation and then pasting it in someplace. That gives me concern.
The other way that I always did it when I was budgeting is social security taxes and Medicare are a percentage of payroll. So plain and simple, it's formula, right, to your point. So this year through September, say for executive, social security and Medicare is 5.7% of wages, but next year they're budgeting 6.5%. So there should be a formula in there and it will be consistent from department to department.
So like here, we have a 24% increase there, but then the others are
30.
30.
Mhm,
So it's like, well, why?
mhm.
That, again, and it's something that we've seen, well, things have been in flux in the cycle in the past. I know it eventually gets settled down in here and there, but I always get concerned when I see those kinds of things.
Mhm.
And yet, then, yes, we see the multi-1,000% changes because of things being moved from one department to another, or one category to another, and things like that, because.
So would it be helpful if we met a couple of times during the year to ask those kinds of questions, so if things are posted, we're catching them before budget season?
I'm with you.
I think meeting with the department heads ahead of time is good. My question is why this is there, because I don't know if the department heads are doing the social security and Medicare.
So what I'm saying is like in June, for example, we meet with the two Lorries. And we have this report actual compared to budget. And we see $0 spent. So obviously either the money hasn't been spent yet, which, or it's somewhere else and we're gonna catch it during budget season, which then just.
And we do have a couple of things that you want to see it even across 12 months, but we pay it quarterly or biannually, so we end up with, a big payment in June, a big payment in December. So you end up with numbers that look like you're behind on something and then it flashes out later,
Right.
so.
I would find it helpful during the year, just to kind of do this type of review a couple of times before we get into the deep dive into the
It
next
makes,
year's
it makes
budget.
sense to look to see where we are in terms of.
Yeah.
I mean, but they're not with budget all year, they do budget before we, what they're revenue requirements.
Mhm.
They're busy doing their day jobs the rest of the
Yeah.
year.
I guess, ambulance is going up considerably.
I spoke with Dan on the phone. He said he
They
had.
wouldn't let me put it two-sided, so they're not co-linked.
I spoke with Dan yesterday.
What did I miss?
On the telephone.
Ambulance.
And he said at that point in time, his budget was going up as far as he $800. I don't know where he stands.
What page is that on?
Well, I was told ambulance was gonna go, again, this was verbal,
Wait a minute, what page is that on?
there is ambulance.
Oh, ambulance is, they took it out.
It's gonna be a warrant article somewhere?
That's, well, they don't know.
Oh,
What's rec? What'd you say about rec that I missed? No.
Dan Bemis, I believe his
Oh,
budget
it's on page
going up $800.
16.
She didn't have a budget in front of her when I didn't get it until 5 o'clock, right?
Yeah, it's, What do you think, operating is gonna go $800?
Sure, that's what he was talking about. His budget actually came out.
It says it's going up 3,200.
He told me when I spoke to him, today that it was going up $800.
Yeah, there's,
16, 17.
well, I've got wages and salary going up.
I've got $800 plus the increase in wages, benefits comes to about 32.4.
Okay.
Right, but why would, yeah, so operating is, but why isn't that money coming out of the revolving fund?
Not even seeing it.
It's up on 16, up in it's his salary is going up 2177. I don't know why that doesn't come out of revolving.
Something, part of it does.
Part of it does, oh, a lot of it does.
Yeah, I spoke to him about that too, about the revolving fund and that. I'm gonna keep budgets flat, maybe we should be charging up some of the programs commensurate to what it actually costs to put the program on. I know that Dan, we don't, we've never, the select was never wanted to charge extra money to make it for-profit program.
Well, it should
But
cover.
it should be
We should,
Yeah.
we should cover the
Yeah.
costs of the programs. To lose salaries and things like that. So I'll talk to Dan Kim. Like I said, he did not have a budget from the either.
Well, they didn't come out until,
It's Monday night, budget.
back to library, what page is that?
517, we're on to 18.
Oh, it's the next one. There are a lot of, it makes the budget unbelievably confusing. So they've got wages salary, and then wages hourly, and they've got nothing in the hourly line to last year. Now they've got 107,000 in the hourly line. But basically, you know, it was, Dawn is the only one that's salaried. And they have it in the salary line.
Was it only a single line item last year?
No,
Looks like they took out the 81,000 out of the salary for some reason. But what bothers me more, Roberta, is that they added the hourly line. It's $20,000 more than they took out of the salary line.
no,
It was a $20,000 increase there for some reason.
well, right, it just, this budget is so difficult. I was gonna look back, I didn't have last year's budget, I was gonna look back, but I know that she had, you know, a full-time youth librarian, and that's not salary, that's an hourly position.
Right.
Yeah, so it wasn't in the salary line. So it's really hard.
But it looked like last year it was salary line.
Yeah. It's,
It looked like all of their employees were in salary, line,
yeah, but they weren't.
not salary employees.
No, they're hourly. So it's really hard to compare. And then the percentages are way off. It went up, you know, like 53% when, or dropped 53% when the next line actually went up. Yeah, so I had real issues with the budget. It's supposed to be simplified.
We're also supposed to have it in the same format for all the departments in the libraries outstanding, and they didn't. They put it aside, it's not included in here.
It's not, that's not the only department. It's like that.
All right?
Oh.
Which other?
Well, there's others that, there's holes where there's nothing, new lines got added. When I get to Mike's stuff, well, it's right in front of me, fuel. They got his fuel line that's dropped. But then there's a propane line that nothing was spent on or budgeted for last year. And it's a $5,200 increase. It's like, and then Mike said, I never had propane line. He said, it was under heat.
4,500 spent so year to date.
Last year, the library did have it combined into the salaries there. It was all combined into salary budget last year. This year, it's broken out between salary and hourly. So
Oh,
that's,
that's, library. That's, we asked him to do it separately.
So our next meeting
It's joint meeting.
is a joint meeting, and the department heads
And it's gonna be a new budget, I guarantee you.
that have looked at this and ensure that they have their corrections, or they're spinning our wheels and wasting a lot of time.
Yeah, so, they added a propane line in the town buildings, for heating. And it was all together, heating. It was just under heat. Now they have one for oil and one for propane.
And if they want to separate that for some reason, okay. But look at them combined compared to the prior year budget, and look at it in total.
Yeah, it's smoke and mirrors. Anyway, that's so 2177, should come out of revolving. I think.
On the
Rec,
recreation.
yeah, we're bouncing all over.
I was gonna say, where to go? Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think that fund's pretty healthy again.
So there were, last year, I thought we talked extensively about needing to purchase 2 voting machines. I thought we put it in the budget, but Lori's telling me we didn't, and we have to buy them this year. But we are gonna get,
No, they're gonna be next year.
we have to buy them for 2025. Yeah.
Right.
So there's roughly $7,000 each. We'll get 50% through a grant, but it's still gonna have to show up
Yeah.
as a
Gross budget.
$14,000 expense.
The only thing that isn't gross budgeted is it's revolving fund. It's really, because, it gets transferred, upper level. So the wages hourly on rec, there's the 12,100. That's for the full-time sports coordinator, because
12,000 for full time.
the rest of it comes out of the revolving fund. So, it's about $3,000, $3,000 should be able to trade like it should be able to come out. you know,
Who decides if those fees, back to your point, who decides what those fees are gonna be? Dan? or the Board of Selectmen?
yeah,
Yeah.
and
He knows all the departments run. He knows what it costs. Pre-daycare school, the after daycare school,
that's where all the money comes from.
that was a program that had to be self-sufficient within 5 years of the grant that we received.
But ours was self-sufficient prior to it.
Because we did a good job in this town.
Yeah.
Jaffrey, on the other hand, did not raise a penny. They,
Didn't charge.
5 years, they didn't raise a penny.
Free?
Free.
Yeah.
They did everything off of the grant.
Including paid an enormous salary,
They had a full-time coordinator with over $50,000 a year.
70, I think.
So after 5 years, they had nothing accomplished.
Mhm.
They run a program 5 years on the backs of the grant money and
Mhm.
expected, they expected the town to sign off on the grant. They brought it to us that afternoon. Wanted us to sign off on an application for the grant again because they didn't fulfill their obligations. Grant. That didn't happen.
So did they close the program down?
Yeah,
We were self-sufficient, our program was fine.
Yeah, but down, they closed it down because they didn't have any.
yeah,
funding.
they had some, church group, I think, that picked it up, but, yeah, they wanted to send the kids here. And I said, not in our building. They had destroyed the school. They, the building they were in.
But we did a good job on this program here, when Dan was running it, and he got
Yeah.
it.
Okay,
So the other thing, if you go to, what's it, I just lost it, page 3. So the town report and voters guide, 5,500 budget is overspent, so 6,300 has been spent year to date. Next year, for the 2025 budget, they're looking at another $978 increase. But we print 800 town reports. And they're online, available online. So we reduced that to 500.
we ran out.
We ran out of the 800 this year.
Yeah,
Oh, they didn't tell me that.
we ran out of them last year.
We
Yeah.
discussed this. Last week. Yeah, discussed it at BOS. The other thing is you're right about cost of the printing and stuff. Got to cut out, we're sending out a loaded guide now that's, every page is color printed.
That's where the cost came in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah.
At least almost the cost of the printing and the loads.
But also the town report is about this big. If you took out everybody's names and valuations, Lori said you could, because she said it's available online.
It'd be a town vote. People would be bullshit.
That would require a town vote.
Well, the selectmen, I don't think would do it on their own, because they did it one year, everybody.
I use it all the time,
Yeah, people use it all the time.
except last,
Well, this didn't come through in
except 2 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it was put in an improper format.
Oh, yeah. Jeez,
It's been done.
Okay, well, I was gonna say we can cut it
I know.
in half.
Yeah, there used to be more on it, but the people, in fact, they come in and complain if it's wrong. If people use it, they look stuff up all the time.
Oh,
I know, it's spying on your neighbors. What's his house worth?
Mhm.
But it's just, it's small town stuff. No, I know.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole idea, for me, information digital is a lot more practical for when I'm searching and looking for things. It's just, we can't represent. Please, let's have it digital.
Now,
I understand, I understand.
I
people
keep two
like-
of them at home. I always take two, so I have one upstairs. and one
Why
downstairs.
your print
Because
copies?
I'm good.
I'd like to.
I don't go online to look at them.
I'd like to know how, for some people, they're gonna use them regularly. There are some people, I think they're gonna look at it once and put it on the shelf. And it would be nice if we could reduce the print, but yeah, we still gonna have a lot of people need the print. But
Just to look up people's addresses. It's well worth it, just having, because we don't have a telephone book anymore with people's phone numbers and their address and stuff in it. That doesn't exist.
Yeah,
It
Yeah.
does not even exist.
I know, you haven't been around here forever, it's just, but it's really
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
And people save them. I mean, one guy had them back, to the 50s. And it was like, he wanted to know if the library wanted them, and they already had, so it's like,
Yeah, library only goes back so far. From here,
yeah, they should be,
the little
we should look into finding them again.
yeah, let's get in a hard phone book.
Well,
but
but
they,
they were small
it
for
covers like 8 towns.
Yeah.
all right.
I've got one from
Get that.
You can actually get them on the University of New Hampshire website. Pull up all of the Sean reports. If you wanted to go back into the past,
Yeah.
I still probably have 20 years of reports.
The other cost that will be going down is we're going out one election plan for 2025 instead, so
Yeah,
we should see a decrease in.
yeah, it's like 2,500.
That's probably where we should look about putting money aside for voting machines. Should the state ever make a decision as to which one they're gonna sponsor? I don't know. Can't make a statement. things. Actually, you can sometimes make mistakes with things. I don't know if you realize this, but this year, when you went to the Secretary of State site, went to the sample ballot. If you printed it out from your cell phone, it came out as a real ballot. The only thing that it was missing was the little scribble for a signature on it. Otherwise, it's identical. So they were addressed about that.
Wow.
And they had the vendor fix it, because when it printed out, it deleted sample. When it printed out, it was a real ballot, just minus the little square
Yeah.
signature. I'm gonna bring one of them, try and get it through the machine, See it.
God,
see if it
Fringe,
works.
New Hampshire.
No, the Secretary of State's office got it fixed within 2 days.
Well, I think so.
Should. The other thing is on page 8, for insurance. So I learned that the workman's comp and property and liability, we signed a 3-year agreement with the insurance company that workman's comp would never go up more than 10% in 1 year, and property and liability would never go up more than 9% in 1 year. That 3-year agreement ends the end of 2025. So we're locked in, we don't know how much it'll go up this year, so we're budgeting the max. I think in, forward looking 2026, I think we can expect a pretty significant hit. I also did ask.
Well, our work comp, the company, did we change companies?
None
Or is it Trinex?
if we had a
It's
3-year agreement.
Primex.
Oh, it's Primex, yeah, because we have had the holidays on work comp. Because
Right,
no claims. So, they have been good, and that's why you asked about that fluctuation. Yeah,
mhm.
because, that we got, it was like payment holidays. Basically, it really screws up budgeting, but yeah, I don't know, my insurance, my property insurance hardly went up this year, and my auto insurance, my brother's he just went ballistic. He was, oh, mine went like $150 and this one. And he doesn't have any access. So I think that it hopefully is not like nationwide, it's.
Now that after you look at all the disasters, scenes.
I know, but we shouldn't be grouped in with them.
Insurance companies, if they're nationwide, they're gonna do it nationwide.
Well, USAA is
Yeah.
nationwide, but they still, and I think I got $400 back from them, with my loyalty rewards, so. Yeah, I expected them to go up, but I think, maybe they're doing it more regional, hopefully.
Well, I suggested to Lori that she does a deep dive. It's been a while since they've looked at what they have for coverage, if they have enough, if they have too much, what the deductibles are. So we know that it probably should go out to bid for 2026. 2025 would be a good year to do that deep dive and say, well, what are we actually buying here? And what do we have and what is it costing us? So whether that gets done or not, I think it's an area that we should look at.
A question about cemetery.
Oh, that's me. We haven't gotten to me.
Because I see that we're proposing $6,400 for hourly wages.
And look at last year's. Do you have last year's?
Well, it shows
Nothing.
nothing.
No. Yeah.
So it shows $84 year to date.
Yeah.
So which is right.
So cemetery, it was budgeted last year. It was budgeted, but it was gonna come out of the cemetery fund.
Okay.
And so he doesn't know what happened, but, and also some of the cemetery got billed to DPW.
Okay.
It got, and they never moved it over.
Then we couldn't get hire anybody, so.
Right, yeah, he ended up having his guys, he had to do it. They didn't get other stuff done because they didn't have a choice.
The trustees of the trust fund was supposed to do something for us to get money's transferred over to our budget to cover the cost of the cemeteries. You know that?
Right, the perpetual care thing, so,
We had money that had been set aside in the trust and put, that was for perpetual care lots.
so when we voted on it, it was the monies going forward would now be separated from that big fund. But we should look
The trouble
into,
is, we had a lot of money in that perpetual care fund because it was never used.
yeah.
Because we perpetually care for all the time.
Right.
So we need to really,
Yeah.
it should be looked into to find an attorney, maybe find one that's already done it and have them go and do a cypre to get that money released.
All you need to do is ask the court.
Right.
To do that because,
Well, no, it's been done in another town.
because you do perpetually
Yeah,
care for
and have all this.
Mhm. We talked about this last year.
Right.
What happened?
So
This is tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars.
on $100,000. Yeah, so his cemetery budget, his actual cemetery costs run between $6,000 and $7,000 per year. Between,
I figured the money that we had set aside for perpetual care lots would have covered that cost for like 30 years.
Mhm.
oh yeah, well, interestingly enough, he gave me his numbers, 22 and 23. And he usually has like 10 to 15 burials a year. This year he's had 2.
Really?
2. I know.
So in previous years' budget, what I do see is that the hourly was 49.39, not zero. So we're jumping from 49.39 to 6,400.
Yeah, so, he said the average is, but that also, that's mowing. That, the 67,000 per year is what it costs for burials on average, which that should be taken care of by, and he said, funeral homes are charged, and it's supposed to cover the burial costs, the actual, his time.
He'll close it.
Yeah, and if it's overtime, they have to pay extra. But that's actually for mowing. That's perpetual care. And, so you'll see, like the overtime generally shows up in here because of, weekend burials. Yeah, they do show up in here.
We do charge the funeral home for the cost of that.
Yeah, I asked him specifically, and he said, I can't tell you the number, but he's pretty sure it covers.
308, and now it's at 309 proposed. It's like $1 increase
Yeah.
for the overtime requests. So I think we got that one. We can cover
We might be looking for a dollar.
it. We may be. So,
Casey's not here either.
no, he's missed a couple now.
Yeah.
I mean, today being Wednesday, I know Thursday was a night that was actually one that he was
You
generally.
sent out a notice, right?
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah, I'm surprised. Didn't get close. He's probably got it stuck in his head that he's thinking Thursday.
we discussed it,
I know we did.
yeah.
But I think before we go into our joint meeting next week, the department heads should look at your numbers and make sure that, one, they were input correctly.
Yeah, Mike had said that one of his, he goes, no, it's 13,000. I said, no, it's 12. And he says, I told you 13. So if we want to go over, Mike's, let's see, just get cemetery. So starting on page 7, this is the town buildings budget.
Okay.
You'll note that here's where it gets confusing. It shows that he's saving $8,000 in the heat oil line, which is not exactly accurate because propane's in there, but he got really good prices, for both. He's at $2.47 a gallon on heating oil, so it did go down, like, 2,600 bucks. So he saved there, propane he got a good price on. He's concerned about his contract repairs line because if the library gets a generator, it won't need servicing in 25, but that line will have to go up for the $2,000 servicing for the generator. And also the servicing on the elevator, the library is going up. And obviously cleaning supplies, have an increase because of increases in this building. Just so you know.
Roberta, on the building contracts, is there some big invoices that are coming in before the end of this year? Because if you look at year to date,
Yeah, I put a question mark there too.
woefully under
Yeah,
budget.
anyway,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's only stood 10, but, there could be, yeah, I asked him about it and I forgot what he said, but that runs pretty much at that price. But I also, when we get there, so on page 8, oh yeah, cemeteries. Oh, this thing's really bad because right at the bottom is where the title is. So we did cemeteries.
Yeah, that 25 had only just been bumped up in the previous budget because it was 15, the previous budget was increased from 15 to 25.
Maybe we can talk to him then about it.
He showed that through the end of November, he had already spent 18,340, so he was over budget. So that must have been accurate and wanted to increase it by 10.
Yeah, I know he runs that one pretty tight. Oh, and the cemeteries, there's supposed to be $1,400 in there on, there's nothing in on operating on cemetery. And, it's supposed to be $1,400, broken out through those lines. Yeah, he says, no, that was supposed to be the same, because some of the stuff got billed to his, wasn't billed correctly.
And this is one of those things we said last year, is like, if you don't have the new number, leave the old number there as a placeholder, so at least it keeps us in the neighborhood.
Yeah, he doesn't know why it wasn't in there. Page 13. There's, mistakes in here. The first line, wages and salary has to be recalculated. He is getting a new contract, but it's not until March 19th, so the wages line, the salary line needs to drop down. She's got it starting January 1, it doesn't start until, so that line will go down.
As will social and
Yeah. And he thinks that the health insurance stipend, I don't know if you heard about this, that two of the guys that are in his department, their insurance was going way up because of the plan they have. The new plan doesn't have the same one. They have an adult and child, a two-person. The new plan doesn't have that, so they have to go to family. Married with a child. So the selectmen are doing health insurance stipend to offset it, but that's not right, because one of them is $1,400.
I couldn't understand why it wasn't round figures in that 35.
Well, no, yeah, well, that's what it was. You guys apparently voted on it last meeting.
Yeah,
So he has two, and one of them,
that'll kick in next year. But it should be-
right, well, our insurance,
Oh, I understand now.
right, it's
But I
jumping
do
from
remember
3,500, it's up, jumping by
It's
1420.
giving them a stipend for the additional money that it will cost them to participate in the healthcare.
yeah,
So that's why it's not 3,500.
Come up before.
they apparently didn't check into it. The
But
actual plans offered. Yeah, the new company doesn't have like divorced and child,
Okay.
single parent and child.
they consider it family.
Two-person.
Two-person.
And a child.
they considered a two-person plan, a family plan, basically. That's the way I understand.
No, because there's just, you cover your
The
spouse,
new plan has a two-person,
that's spouse.
correct, but the old plan, the two-person one included the family. And the new carrier, two-person does not include the family, they have a family bucket.
Yeah,
And two,
Right, but a two-person should be parent and child.
correct, but not a third child.
no, this is only one,
No. A third child would be a full family plan, agreed, but
The old one did not have a family plan, it had a two-person plan, it included a family. That's what it said to me. That's what Lori said to me, and I think, well, agree. So there's a difference between the two plans.
Anyway,
there's a difference between the two plans, they don't, yeah, so two employees got really hit with
That's too
increases.
Did the company not tell us that two of these people would be having to move over to family plan when they knew about it, the new company knew about it?
that's why I'm saying something doesn't sound right, because this never came up in any conversation.
Came up last week.
Yeah. Yeah, when it was discovered that theirs was gonna go up. Anyway, so,
But it was only,
but this number for the stipend,
two employees out of all.
right, but that number's not, the 4927 is not correct for the health insurance stipend line. Anyway, this,
It's gonna be like $2,000 more, it should be like 5,500 around there.
right. Yeah, I think it's $600 or
it's
$700.
gonna be 1,400 each.
No, one of them is more.
They both up different, was because that one pays 10% towards healthcare because she's been here so long. And the other one pays 10%, but 10%. One pays 10%, one pays 20% because he came here after
Yeah.
the day of change.
But on that note, unless you're adding people to your plan, every department's insurance budget should be going, health insurance budget should be going down,
It didn't.
and that's not the case.
Yeah. It's
So
only,
I don't see the savings that we said. that
But
we
I
said.
just gotta go to the last page and
it says 4,700. There were some people that changed, there were plan changes. People that changed their
you
plans.
can understand that people get married, they go to,
Yeah.
things like that, they have children, family plan. I understand that also.
So he's asking for an increase in his line painting. He didn't have enough to get parking lots and stuff done this year. And he said, the signs can probably, he's got a lot of signs that got ordered that don't reflect in this year's, what he's spent so far. But he said that can probably drop back down to 2,500 instead of 3,000. Diesel, he did reduce. So the reason that he hasn't spent all his money by the beginning, you look what, the budget is and what's spent. He gets all of his blades, plow blades and everything done now.
Year.
Yeah, he hasn't, in fact, the guy was there, when I went in. Highway paving, that line has not, the one we put in has not been increased. I know this is probably not the year to do it, but, the original plan was to get it up to 300,000. So we're a little short, but,
I don't know what the state's gonna give us this year.
yeah, 180.
That would they already certified.
That Mike said, I asked him that specifically. He said, no, we're good.
We used to get surprise in the year, extra monies.
Yeah, extra.
I think this year the surprise is gonna be just no extra money.
Right.
Yeah. Streetlights, something the same, although, Concom ordered power for Tetro Park. And they expect Mike to pay for it, and he was never consulted. I don't know, were you?
No,
Yeah, like, Concom needs to know if they're gonna do stuff, it's gonna come out of their money. They want Mike to take over that.
no, they want Mike to mow it, plow it, and light it, and all this, they come up with a program, and then they wanna turn over all the bills to
Yeah,
Mike.
so,
But that's gotta be done. Hand it back to Concom.
they have money,
Well, they claim they can't spend it on anything but purchase of land, they can't maintain the wrong land.
I think we need to look at that. Solid waste, that's the biggie.
Since we're on page 18, let me just ask.
Yeah.
Anybody deal with Memorial Day and Fourth of July? We got a serious problem. Memorial Day funds were overspent by $1,000.
Yeah, I saw that.
I don't know whether,
Do we know why?
well, I gotta tell you the truth. When Ronnie was involved, my wife was involved with the past guy who ran the parades, Ronnie did budgeting for them. So it came out to the penny. It was always, if it was $1,200, $1,200 or less that was spent. Now, I don't know where it's being spent. I assume it's on damn flags that people keep ordering for the graves, which is fine. But who's supposed to be paying for that?
I don't know, but that didn't come out of Memorial Day before.
I didn't think so.
In fact, the flags come out of Mike's budget, the ones that have to be replaced at all the buildings.
Yeah, periodic.
Yeah, well, almost every year.
That,
Yeah, see,
so when you spot town,
yeah,
blew the flagpole over.
yeah, but we got a nice one now.
I-
Yeah, I saw that too, and I went, oh,
Yeah, this year, so far, there's nothing budgeted in that line. Nothing. So apparently nobody's come forward with a request for anything for that.
well, I know that, the 4th of July, it's basically the town does, contribution of $1,000 to the,
If they run it together.
well, rec, it goes to rec. But, yeah, I'm stunned, because I've never seen that overspent.
I know who managed it for years and years.
Well, who did it this year?
Craig Clark took it over this year or last year.
Were they told how much they had to spend?
Sure he's aware.
Ooh,
Jim always was. That's one.
yeah,
There a donation for fireworks or something this year? Oh, sorry, I should have raised my hand.
did what?
Wasn't there some sort of donation that came in? So something towards that event? And it would get spent, but would have a offsetting revenue somewhere.
I don't know, they usually,
I don't know. I thought someone.
well, no, she does the chamber, and then the chamber raised money,
They can do it. Wish they could donate to the chamber for the project.
or to the rec.
Yeah.
Because Tor gives the money to the rec. We did $2,000 for the fireworks.
See you Saturday.
Yep. Okay, so I have a meeting I've talked
Anyway, that's
about.
what I'm bringing.
Yeah, no, I saw that.
Zero budgeted, it was over budgeted by $1,000.
Solid waste, huge increase in, per ton. Yeah, it's going from 120 a ton to 145 and 130 to 155 for, building.
Talked a lot last year about increasing the fees.
They're gonna have to be.
Gotta figure out what it's gonna have to need.
So,
Gonna have to do it. Just is kind of on the hairy edge with everybody. These punch cards, it's costs too much money. People dump their stuff on the side of the road. Therefore, it costs us to send a dump truck and an employee out to bring that back, which is more than the money we would have got for a punch card. So we gotta be careful as to how much we go on punch cards, and how much.
well, the punch cards will be the same.
We should be.
The fees for mattresses has to go up.
It's enormous. Fees for mattresses, try and get them taken out of your house.
And we charge $5. And that's, I mean, we're paying, yeah, so,
Take it in DS and you spend probably 20 or 30.
well, that's where the stuff is. So anyway, Mike and I
We gotta
talked
be
about
careful
it.
about that, because if we go too much, then we're gonna have mattresses all over the side of the road.
Yeah, well, people may have,
Or be open up for fires.
yeah, well, people may start having the mattress companies take them out with them, which is what I did.
It's a good idea.
You know, I mean, it's part of the,
Even the TVs, I had
our electronic speeds are way too low.
2 or 3 of them, I already dumped. Just on that road. Explain, and he's been dumped on the side of the road.
Yeah,
I'm
Except you dumped them out.
I'm not paying for them.
yeah.
But I'm willing to pick them up and get them off the side of the road.
Anyway,
I saw the paint cans I found there too.
yeah, I went
I
over,
found a receipt. The guy's name dropped off his pocket. The police will call him. He must have lost your paint cans on the side of the road. Receipts and that.
Do we have a fine for
Dumping,
dumping?
well, you gotta catch it in the air too.
But if you did,
well, I think it would, you know, if there's proof of it. So I went over I went over with stocks. I went over all the figures with Mike on the solid waste, and they offered 2 different plans. And one was lower per ton than the policy of 125. So he keeps really good records. So we went through, you know, his 5-year average, and having them haul it is cheaper. It's so, except Mike's hauling, and he says the haul truck would never be able to haul, you know, all of it. So he hauls the recyclables, which are lightweight. Anyway, so what we, is gonna be suggested is to use the revolving fund to pay $30,000 of the solid waste budget. I mean, that's what it's for,
Yeah, how much is in there?
66. And we'll get another 35, 50,000 if the dump stickers are increased to $50, which that's where they should be. That's $1 a week. Then it'll bring in like 50,000 a year instead of 30.
Charge.
30. And to ease it, my recommendation was a long time ago, go to 50 and give them a $10 punch card. Not everybody uses those punch cards. They, you know, they just sit, you know, a lot of people don't have stuff to throw out. So it's like, ease the first year.
A lot of people take those cats though.
Hmm?
We'll see what happens. That's a good idea. They might just, they're not gonna use them for anything. They give them the head and say, if somebody needs to dump some, it's the punch card for.
Well, I use my punch card for other people, you know, it's like they got there and didn't know they had it out, so I
I've done
said.
that too, and then I went one time and didn't have a punch card. It said, the guy gave me $5 for the person that dumps things, so I'll give it to you.
It's one thing if
I
it's
gave him a
been,
punch card Monday.
well, I would suggest getting the marking now, so that they can't, you know, it's like, then somebody can't do it, give it to Ed to use for somebody else. Because they weren't paid for it in the first place. But anyway, so that's my suggestion, Mike's good with it. You know, just, and if the fee is increased, then it'll increase the income and be able to offset.
It takes an increase of $20 to do that.
Well, we get about $30,000 to $35,000 a year. So
And how much are they?
they're 30. You figure about, and the seniors, if you know, do them at half price, you know, 25.
And still stay with a one discount.
It's like dog tax, one.
One discounted.
Yeah.
card Per senior.
But anyway, I think it's a good idea, and he wants to go over, the, actual fee, you know, for dumping the demo, that costs. We don't even have to have it, but it would be all over the roads if we did. So, but that would, probably increase the income, you know, on that revolving to close to 50 a year. Save some, you know, for the truck and the loader that's used there, but, you know, use it as a user fee, to offset the budget. Because that actually, you don't have to gross budget that. It actually will decrease the budget by 30,000.
So a contractor can.
No,
Okay.
they can't use, they're not supposed to be able to use that.
Okay. But if you're doing.
If
something
if I'm tearing walls down, I can't.
I know, apparently, you're not supposed to run rubbish from your camp, your camp is out of town.
Really? Well, it is technically,
I'm swimming on the way home. Oh, he didn't. Sorry.
who said that?
How do they know?
I told him, you know, make a friendly conversation. Yeah. Oh, where's he? I'm wrong. Oh.
Oh, yeah, I can't imagine.
You should have brought your house.
That's your taxpayer. Yeah, it's like your taxpayer. Okay, so,
I'm sure that was taken care of.
yeah. And then the only other one is the parks and playgrounds, which is a mess. There's nothing, you know, it's, this, what he paid got billed to DPW. It says that he hasn't spent any money. But it got billed wrong. Yeah, Tetra Park is being added to the parks and playgrounds, so it's kind of, you know,
Which page up there?
oh, 17? No, it's not, it's finished. No.
So if I'm in charge of parks and playgrounds and I get my financials every month and I tend to look at that and I see that there's nothing expensive to my department. Is it my responsibility to tell Lori?
They totally did wrong. No, yeah, he tells them, but they didn't remove it from DPW and then move it over here. Yeah, because I mean, he's got his
So it's
spreadsheets.
recognized, but
Yeah,
You
it
can't
just,
always-
yeah, so it makes budgeting a problem. And also the materials line is supposed to have I know, materials line is fine, but it's nothing being spent there is, I put wrong, because it was built wrong. Coded wrong. So that's my show and tell.
When's the last time?
Pardon?
When's the last time the president?
Several years ago. Dump stickers? Yeah, 3 years ago,
Oh, wow.
or 4 years ago.
Kind of gone since I lived here.
How long have you been here?
6-7 years.
Yeah, well, no, it's been, I don't think it's been 7 years.
It's been more recent than that.
I think it
I was
was,
thinking, I was thinking 3 or 4.
it didn't go up enough. They were, 25 and went up. Yeah, it should have been. I was pushing for 50 back then.
Different towns charge different prices. I know my job is down. Mass charges $150.
Yeah, and then a lot of them charge for the bags,
Right.
per bag fee.
4 towns in Massachusetts is going through that road. It's the worst.
So,
I mean, so overall, my question is if we saved $100,000, was we on healthcare,
yeah, I don't
why,
either.
why are we looking for an increase of $500,000 in the budget? I know we're trying to go up in the salaries. Those are all skewed all over the place. People with 15% increases.
Well, and wasn't everyone supposed to just be doing a 3% increase COLA?
No, step raises.
It's separated, but I couldn't get an answer to the question whether those were added in here or not.
They're in Mike's. I asked him specifically and he said yes.
Both from Laurie today.
So did you go over, Rachel's budget, the police budget?
I did talk with her about that previously. That's-
Well, yeah, but you didn't have a budget.
No, we didn't have a budget.
I mean, it was huge.
We didn't have a budget until Monday anyway, Monday night.
To your point, Bob, when you look at salaries and benefits, there should be more than $47,000 savings in health insurance. And yet we're still, even after that, we're still looking at almost a 14% increase.
Right.
But look at your wages, so what's going on there? 18% increase in wages.
So one of them is planning.
Oh,
Whoa,
I didn't,
I struck a nerve.
no, I looked at the budget and went, oh, that's got to change. Because I only printed Mike's budgets, and then I went back, and when I got the full budget today, I had looked at it on my screen, I don't do that well. And I realized, planning can definitely, I was gonna look at that compared to last year. So the second line, the wages and hourly, that can probably be dropped. My guess is around 20. I'll double check. There's something wrong with this. It doesn't make sense.
Let me ask a question of wages and salaries. Well, the hourly wages were always skewed. Salary, we spent 20,000 this year, and they're looking for 68,000 next year. This is for a part-time position.
Well, that's what it was, that's what it was budgeted for last year in the 90. But it was not for a full year, because the 90 included,
That was supposed to be wages for the part-time secretary we have and another secretary. Those are
That's-
hourly wages.
Yeah, they put it in hourly, and then we voted to make him just salary. I think it's like 25 hours, whatever, it's exactly what was budgeted.
Like a 40% increase in the, between,
That's what I'm saying, there's something wrong with the way they moved this around. That 63 shouldn't still be in the wages, hourly wages line. That's like that, that's like that included.
another person.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, so it's just, basically, we have tried to leave a little bit of a cushion in there. More than what Susan makes in case we could ever find somebody to come in. But that definitely needs to be dropped. This just is wrong. That's all I can tell you, it's just wrong.
Overall, puts planning up 37%.
Yeah, so that's not right. Yeah, we went over the budget, and this is not right. I think it's almost like Al's in there twice. He's in there like at least once and a half, not twice. And I think actually that may be exactly what it is.
So what I'm still saying is, so even if we eliminated the entire budget, that's $125,000. Where would we get $5.5 million increase?
Yeah, no, yeah, planning is definitely wrong. And I know that's not what he requested, because we went over it, a month or so ago.
so you're adding one police officer, so police budget's going up.
What page are you on?
Page 9, so that's 22% increase. So on the
Part
400 something.
of what's being added into police under the wages is that we didn't have the full year of the ninth officer. Ninth officer wasn't added, it was a missed long part of the eighth because of when they started, so there were two roles that weren't 100% funded in previous budgets.
And then you've got a $104,000 increase in your hourly fire department. Plus another 30 for the transition.
Yeah.
And you've got $90,000 in per diem. So you've got a $121,000 increase in fire department for wages and benefits. So that's a big chunk.
Yeah, and I'm not sure, that's why I say this budget, I just don't, there's so many mistakes in it. So like they're cut out they cut out. They don't have anything in there for EMT, firefighter clerk record saver. I mean, that line's blank. And yet, then the hourly, it went up to hourly. It's like, why? The hourly line went up $100,000, but they took $67,000 out of another line.
But even if you look at wages and benefits total, just the health department in particular, they budgeted 529 for 2024. They're proposing 651 for 2025. That's still a 23% increase.
So,
Even if the accounts are misallocated or expenditures are misallocated, it's still a big increase.
well, they had to change because their per diem, they're doing a per diem to cover the station. And in order to compete with Cheshire County, who was stealing our people, they had to increase that substantially on per diem.
Yes, those should have gone up 175%.
Well, that's why I think it's the same as the planning board. I think they took money out of one place, but it got doubled when it got put someplace else. I mean, these blank lines don't make any different sense. So the per diem, I know is to have coverage, on Mondays, I think Mondays and Fridays. Who was supposed to go over the budget with, oh, Whitney. Whitney?
Yeah.
I wonder if he did it. So. The big problem is in the wages and per diem. The hour, if you look at it, hourly wages went from 60 to 164, and then they also added a per diem, and I have the feeling that it's in there twice. Yeah, well, they took 66,000 out. They added 100 to the hourly wages and also 90,000 per diem. So, I mean, there's definitely a problem here. Yeah. And I would say it's not with Rick's record keeping because he is anal. It's like the charts and everything he keeps for every nut, bolt, and screw. So there's definitely a problem there. But look, that health insurance line did go down. That's 3 employees and it went down $6,000. But I went through checking, it's a lot of them went up. Like the highway department, health insurance went up 2,000. It went from 66 to 68.
So that means all the savings were negated and you added a bunch of people onto the plan.
No, it just,
And
that's,
that would be the only justification.
yeah, he does have one.
They had a bunch of employees, so.
He might added 1 employee, but I think it was to replace one that had been there. You know, I mean, the spot was there. Yeah, so I mean, there's just,
The police shows $15,000 reduction.
yeah. Yeah, there's 1,000 in solid waste. I mean, it's here and there, but, library, well, and that's, you can't attribute to the plan, it went down 21,000. But that's because, his husband died, so. And it's like. Yeah, so she went from, a married to single. Yeah, this budget's really
That's some
tough.
work to do, but this is draft money. So,
I've been on this committee for probably 1,000 years, so I'm sort of in tune with the budget, looks like, and the same question Bob asked. How did we go up $500,000 when we went up? So let me just kind of give you kind of my point of view here. I don't see a lot of, I think there's probably a few errors in here, but this is what everybody's voted for. So I think you gotta take a little bit of it with a grain of salt, but, we're looking at it from the top down. And, last year we had almost a $405,000 increase, 404 or something. And now we've got another $500,000 increase, so I kind of took the back end. And so, if I took our budget that's this year, and if you have some notes, you can follow with me, it might be easier, but I'll spit out some numbers. You know, we had our budget last year was 5,352,724, okay? So I know, there were some wage changes this year, and I don't think I captured them all, because Lori wasn't in, so I couldn't drill her, because they're conference, but there was an increase in executive of, about 15,000, if I'm not mistaken.
Code enforcement officer, I think.
No,
No.
it was not. I'm just talking,
No,
This
it was
year.
Lori, it was 18,000.
so it was whatever it was, I just took the numbers off this page here before I came here, so it was about 15K when I was doing this math in my head. It was 18, I'm on, it's insignificant to this math. So, and then we had a prosecutor increase of about 25,000, 28,000. So,
I didn't see
there were
that.
also wage increases in various departments, due to change in status, and one of them was about 4% on this particular individual. I think there were others as well. So I just took the first two, 15 and 25, pick a nice even number, 40,000 bucks. So I took the 24 budget and I subtracted the $40,000. So it came down now to, it went, actually, I'm sorry, it went the other way. It went up because of those increases. So I ended up with 5,392,724 as a starting point, just for those two changes. Okay, so I backed into it again. Now, because they were kind of automatic increases. So I took deductions. We had a health insurance deduction, and when I was writing this, it was 115. I'd forgotten about the little change in the stipend. So my number is a couple grand off. I use 115. And now the ambulance is completely removed from the budget. That's 46.5. So it's $161,000 deduction. Okay, from the 5,392,000 with the wage add-ons. So we've got a starting point of 5,231,224 with the wage changes adding, and then those two line items deducting. So in essence, if I take the back end of this budget with the increase of almost $500,000, if I use this starting point, we're really at about $600,000 increase. Yes, we're a couple hundred under last year's budget with that changes. Those four changes alone. So you gotta kind of start coming from the bottom up on this stuff. We're getting too many numbers here. And so I went a little bit further. And I know back in June, I predicted we were going to come in under budget. And I looked at a couple of the very large items in the big departments. Call wages, and I think Roberta has brought these up in the past. I did an 8-month average, and came up with a figure, just kind of point of understanding. Gave Rick a 25% increase in that line last year for wage increases to bring him up to a competitive rate. He got a 55% increase. I predicted he was going to come in under last year, and he did by 12,000. He was about 8,000. I predicted 20, but he came in 12. So if I use the 8-month average moving forward, the call wage line is going to be fall around 100,000. Kind of depends on his labor management. The other line I looked at, which jumped off the page at me, was Mike's materials line. And I'm not really sure where to go with that, but he's $73,000 under budget in his material line. I think it's pretty much winter materials.
He hasn't filled the salt shed yet.
I understand that.
He never does it until
I understand
December.
that. I know. He bought $20,000 last December.
Yeah,
But
sand and
even if he
salt.
bought, the sand shed is full. I'm not picking one way or the other. I'm just saying $73,000, and I didn't make any change there. If you just kind of look through some of these, there's a lot of other possible changes, you know. If you just take what's proposed, there's There's no animal control officer now, 14 grand. We haven't spent a penny on parks and wages, that's 5 grand.
No, that's not true.
Let me finish, Roberta, I'm trying to
It
explain
gets
some
spent.
basic numbers here,
Yeah,
from the bottom up. Parks and wages, we didn't spend a penny this year, and if we did spend a penny on parks and wages, it should be coming out of the highway line. We'll reduce his highway wages. But that's not the point here. Elections, I didn't know what to do with elections, because I knew we had to buy new machines. Electricity budgeted at $45,000. We're just getting ready to sign a contract for about 200 kilowatts for the whole year, for the whole town, at 9 cents, so we're probably about $20,000 high on that $45,000. We're gonna cut it from 15 or 16 down to none. So we're high, and I don't wanna squeeze it, because we might spend more on electricity, but at 45, my math, I don't have the numbers right here quickly that I can put on, but I think it's about 20 grand. So,
you know, Tom,
so it's a
I
possible
don't
change.
know what to
Roberta,
sit
I'm
here all-
speaking.
no, well, I don't
So
want
I'm
to sit here
looking-
all night and listen to what you need to do when you're sitting on that side of the board
I'm a
at
citizen,
the, at the
and I'm
selectmen's
reviewing
meeting.
this budget with this budget committee, from the citizens' point of view.
Well, you're not gonna be included in the minutes because I'm
I
not
don't have
writing
to be.
down all this stuff.
You don't have to. But I'm saying, I'm trying to say where Bob's coming from. Bob's trying to come from, where are we coming up with $500,000, and really we're coming up with $600,000. And if you take some of these non-spend items in the budget, we're probably down around under 5,200,000 for a starting point. And we need to go line by line, and I'd start with our big budgets and say, how are we going back?
I think what really we should do is zero balance budget.
Correct.
Start in the beginning.
We need to start from the
Really,
bottom
it's
up.
right back, you know, not for anything, if you look up the social security increase, which I know you have, CPI
3.2
for the year, the inflation rate for the year.
and 2.5. Yeah, 2.5,
Social security,
right,
CPI went up about 3%.
yeah.
Inflation rate is gonna be up over just about 3%. Why are we looking for 9 to 10% increase in our budget when all of these figures indicate about a 3% increase?
Yeah,
You
they,
know, I'm glad to hear you say zero-based budgeting, because that goes back to what I said before we started the meeting. We're building a budget based on the prior year budget, even if we didn't spend it.
yeah,
And to me, that's wrong. It's very foreign.
yeah, well, one of the biggest problems with town budgets is you cannot overspend. It's a bottom line budget, and because especially highway, what the big departments, highway, police, and fire are just virtual unknowns.
Mhm.
And, you know, like Mike had one truck that cost him $40,000 in repairs.
Mhm.
He didn't have it in his budget. He had to rob it from other places.
So I'm understood.
Yeah,
You know, like if you took through September 30th and annualized it, I bet you a good percentage of those numbers would be much less than the budget. Yet we're building next year's budget off of the budget number.
On top of this,
So you're never gonna find
on
savings.
top.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of the stuff is spent in the last couple of months. Especially with highway,
Yeah.
fire, they replenish all of their medical supplies in December.
Mhm.
So that line may not have much spent at all,
Mhm.
because they use it out of the truck and then they go to the hospital and reload. So there are a lot of things that aren't paid for, aren't spent until the last beginning of the year.
Mhm.
Part
There
of
will
this
be
is
exceptions.
too, if we came up with a little bit higher percentage to add in there for us.
It was not to exceed,
Living increase, so we stayed on the safe side, number 3, where it came in at 2.5, so.
Yeah.
All right, which is closer to where it should be, but then again, this 2.5 does not include the taxation and the retirement money's on top of the raise.
Did you hear what it looks like the retirement went up? Did you hear what the percentages were?
No, I was not supplied with any of that information.
Yeah, I was just
That
looking,
was kind of,
Going up 15% overall. Stage.
the cost
Mhm.
of retirement people.
yeah, so I'm going, God, that's another huge increase that we have no control over.
I-
Our unvoted on mandate. They just screwed us. It's like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, the total that we owe the town of Ringe was over $5 million to the retirement fund that we never voted to fund. So,
And you know what they did in Massachusetts a few years ago? They made them put, so like the community college in Gardner, they had, a liability, but it showed on the state. That the state was trying to improve their finances, so the state went to all the community colleges and said, from now on, you're gonna show this unfunded liability on your balance sheet instead of the state's balance sheet. So that's how they fixed the problem. They didn't have it anymore.
yeah, I think that, as far as bonding, or borrowing, bonding, that I don't think that shows as a debt, although it is,
Well,
But
it's a liability, unfunded,
it doesn't show,
yeah.
yeah.
Before we finish this up, we had, since you mentioned bonds, I wanted to look at that. We've got a long-term interest bond, a principal long-term interest. Which is this bond? Is this the bond for consolidated?
One is consolidated, that's all we have.
Yeah, one is the
Yeah.
principal payments and the other is the interest.
Okay,
Yeah, so the Congress still got paid off, didn't it?
correct.
Yeah, so it's, all we have is consolidated. And they pay it, but it's gross budgeting, it's in
That
there.
was another thing, we had a long-term bond and we paid it off, so that's not even there anymore.
Right.
So it should have went down a little bit more.
Well, yeah, but it was a separate line item.
Yeah, when it comes out in the bottom line, it's there.
It was
Yeah.
the total expenses.
Yeah, because I mean, we have to gross budget even though they pay it. But yeah, it's like, I'm just going, I didn't hear with the retirement for, police and fire.
I don't know if the percentages went up.
Pretty,
Kind of getting the feeling they didn't. It goes up every year, that they get a raise, our contribution goes up.
I know, that's pretty big. Yeah, see, the operating is, you were talking about cutting the operating, operating is only up 1.5%. Yeah, the operating expenditures are
29,111.
almost all flat, they're just
Yeah.
about flat. It's the,
It's the wages
yeah,
and benefits.
boy, that's pretty big for, that's pretty big. That's why I say some of these numbers can't be right.
Well, the other thing that I looked at too was if you look at the total benefits, salaries and benefits, wages and benefits, and compare that 3,875,000 to the total expenditures, wages and benefits now represent 66% of our total expenditures, which is pretty significant. I think 50% is probably,
No, yeah, that's so,
55% is the norm.
yeah, if you look at the school budget,
Well,
the same thing. Yeah, our operating budget has been, tight for 20 years. Since, 14 years, since 12. Yeah, just, it's part of it's keep the operating really tight. And I know you say that there's places to cut it. But the biggest problem is keeping personnel.
Yeah,
Gotta look at the wage increase that we can afford to give cost of living increase soon.
Well, I think that it was just to put it in
I know,
because we didn't have the social security number yet.
so we're gonna have to take a guess and add it on, it was easy to have it.
Not to exceed, yeah. We done?
Pretty much, there's one thing, you mentioned Roberta about the prosecutor's increase in rate,
That is two people and it hasn't gone up in years.
but it was a horrible increase. It was because we were putting over the barrel. All right, I'll be perfectly frank. One of the prosecutors, there's very few prosecutors around, one of them went to another position, say everybody was scrambling. So because everybody was shorthanded on a prosecutor, our prosecutors decided all of a sudden to ask for the raises all at once. Where they would leave and work for the other towns that need prosecutors. They hate that negotiation tactic.
But I don't remember the last time that increased.
Every year, it's up to them to ask for the increase. They didn't ask for an increase.
That's what I'm saying.
I never asked for one.
No, that's what I'm saying, yeah, what's his name? Varga?
Bogus.
Bogus. Well, and it's,
Believe it or not, it's bogus.
yeah, bogus, but it also can, it covers Michelle's too, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, so it is two people.
Yeah, they figured that if they had gotten the raises they should have had, that they should have asked for the past 5 years, I think it was 20%. They asked for a 50% increase.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you, yeah, it's like,
charge over a barrel.
Big time.
Yeah.
If you can get
But
it.
we shouldn't have been, because there is another prosecutor that's coming along right now, which we should have hired.
Our contract is up in end of December, but
it's 1 year.
I think we did it till the end of December.
They need a prosecutor.
Anyway,
Well, before we adjourn, or you making a motion?
Keep them busy.
No, I'm making a motion to adjourn.
To be. So they do other things too. No, it's not really full time.
no, it isn't. He's got a full-time job.
He doesn't do that.
Oh, he
I
doesn't.
don't believe it, no.
So,
I would make a suggestion that
Sorry.
this budget get rerun without all the wage increases to start.
I disagree.
And
Yeah.
We're not gonna have 5 budgets again this year, Tom.
Yes, we have. We watch.
No, I'm not saying at one time. At one time, we were dealing with, nobody knew what it was. And, you know, I think we need to go through the first meeting with this budget, say, correct the mistakes.
Right.
And then when the selectmen make a motion to do the COLA, then do the rerun.
Because the group as a whole decided we wanted to have some numbers in there and a not to exceed number. So I think that it's best to not yank out the stuff that we asked for. It doesn't make sense.
I'm making a suggestion, strictly as a suggestion, but I can tell you now that I know that we have given 4% raises to individuals within a certain department. And they will get another 5.5% raise if you do everything that you touch. And I think you should have a starting point. I understand we need to get raises, but to go across the board at 5.5%, that they can earn that step raise. But I mean, I'm not picking on anybody, I'm just saying we need to have a starting point before you start throwing all the numbers out there.
It's like the starting point is to not to exceed number that we have in there, so we have a point to push from.
The worst case scenario.
Again, you're pushing down rather than up.
Yeah.
It's not just the percentage increase in the wage, it's the taxation that's on top of that, right?
Loaded cost.
And retirement for things like that.
That's correct, Bob, because all my numbers are straight on the wage line, nothing else, because I can't really calculate.
It's just, it goes up exponentially. It's like hiring, you'd love to hire full-time employees. You'd love to.
If you
But
take,
then you have to add in healthcare, dental care, retirement, so all this stuff.
35%.
You both involved in our, right out of.
Yeah,
if I would add one more thing, for just so clarity, I know Roberta doesn't want to hear me talk, but this is the way it is. If I take that $500,000 that Bob's looking at, and I do calculations, estimate the tax rate on that $500,000, I think it was a truck or it's about 65, 68 cents. Just some food for thought.
Was shot yesterday.
All right, well, we are adjourned. Thank you all.
all right, thank you.
See you next Wednesday, guys?
Next Wednesday it is.
Next Wednesday, join the select.
Yeah, it's game day.
So next Wednesday, we're working off of this budget, we'll expect to get.
Yeah, let me make a suggestion, Gina. Don't take